Hi, this is Ish, and today's class will be aimed for beginners. So if you're new to yoga, I'm going to introduce you to some of the basic poses in the asana classes. And I want you to keep an open mind and also don't stress yourself out on being super flexible, but rather the more important thing is to make contact with your breath and pay attention to inhalations and exhalations in each pose. So it's more of a mindful approach and more about looking inwards rather than getting very deep in a pose. So just keep that in mind. Now find a comfortable seat with your spine upright. Take a moment to close your eyes and look inwards. Pay attention to the state of your mind in this present moment. And start to bring your attention to your breath. This will be the anchor of your practice. Just notice your inhalations and exhalations. If you find that your mind has started to wander, you can gently guide your attention back to your breath. And now on your next exhale, you can slowly open your eyes. We'll make our way to tabletop position, so come onto your hands and knees. Toes pressed down. Start with a few cat-cows. So on an inhale, lift your head up. And exhale, arch your spine coming into cat pose. Inhale up for cow. Then exhale for cat. Inhale up for cow pose. And exhale for cat. Just a few more at your own pace, working with your breath and rhythm. And then on your next cat pose, you're going to press back into a down dog. So your feet are about hip distance apart. You're going to press the mat away with you, from you with your palms. And then you can bring some movement by bending one knee, then the other, dropping each heel down to the mat. And then press both heels down. Bend your knees and then step forward. And then come into a fold. So we'll take a slightly modified version by bending our knees, grabbing opposing elbows, and swaying side to side. And then exhale, drop your hands down, forward fold. And then inhale, come up halfway. Keep the crown of your head pointing forward. And then exhale, fold. Bring your hands to heart center, come up all the way. And then come into neutral, standing position. We'll go through the Sun A series. So on your next inhale, slight arch on the back, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale halfway up. And then exhale, step back into a plank pose. And lower all the way down to the mat. Toes pointed down. And then I'm going to come into a slight back bend here. And then exhale, press back to down dog. To bring attention back to your breath. Bend your knees, step forward, coming into a forward fold. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, fold. And then bring your hands towards center, come up all the way. Slight arch in the back, and then come back to neutral. We'll do that one more time. So on your next inhale, slight arch back, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, step back into a plank. Stem lower down halfway so our shoulders are in line with the elbows. Drop the toes. Upward facing dog. This creates a nice stretch in the front body. My thighs are engaged. And exhale, down dog. Then now bend your knees. Step forward. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands towards center, come up all the way. Slight arch in the back, and then come back to neutral. And just take a moment and just notice how you feel in this present moment. Then our next pose will be tree pose. So plant your right leg down to the mat. Then bring your left foot to the ankle. And now you're going to move your knee as much as you can. And once you kind of hit a stopping point without moving your hips, you're going to keep your foot there. And you can either keep your foot here for balance, or bring it up to your thigh, or your calf, or your thigh. So make sure it's not on the knee, but rather below or above your knee. Bring your hands towards center. And just focus on an unmoving point in front of you. This pose helps to bring balance. And then next exhale, you can let your foot down, shake your leg out. And then we'll be doing the other side. So bringing the right heel to the left ankle, then moving your right knee as much as you can. Either staying here on the ankle, bring it to your calf, or your thigh. And hands at heart center, and look downwards. Then you can let your leg go. Begin to shake it out. We'll now come into Malasana, which is a squat pose. So bring your heels out to the edges of your mat, and then sit back. Bring your arms to the inside of the thighs, hands towards the sternum. So from a front view, it looks like this. Now, if this is too difficult, you can always sit down and do the same variation of the pose. Two different variations, and just focus on breathing into the hips. And then you can bring your hands to the sides of you and sit down. And then bring your feet in together so they're touching, knees out. And we'll set up for a butterfly pose. So I like to bring movement into this pose by flapping my knees up and down first. And then I like to create motion into my spine by rotating in circles while keeping my grab on the big toes. And now if you go in one way, go the other direction. And then straighten your spine, and then fold forward. Allow your chest to lead in this pose. So not dropping your head down, but rather leading with your chest. So keeping the back straight. And it's okay if your knees don't touch the mat. Focus on breathing into the hips here. Next exhale, rise all the way up. And then extend your legs out long. We'll come into Paschimottanasana, which is a forward fold. It's one of my top poses. It really works on the hamstrings, which become very tight when you sit a lot. So once you've got a good seat, you're going to engage your thighs, and then flex your feet in towards you. I like to take my peace fingers, grab a hold of the big toes, and fold forward. You can also keep a bend in your knees. And if you have one, you can place a blanket underneath your knees, and then fold forward. And your next exhale, you can let go of the grasp, come up all the way. And just start shake your feet side to side. Probably feel a little sore right now. That's okay. Then we'll make our way onto our backs. And come into a little twist. So come into twisted roots. So shift your hips about 2 or 3 inches over to the right. Lift your knees up. And then drop your knees over to the left. And look over to your right. Now bring your knees back to center. And drop your knees over to the right and look over to your left. And bring your knees back to neutral. Come into a gentle happy baby pose. So grabbing the sides of your feet, keep your knees bent. And try to press your lower back to the mat. You can rock side to side. Now hug your knees to your chest. Give yourself one last squeeze before our final resting pose, Shavasana. Once you're in Shavasana, laying down, close your eyes and let everything go. And I'll guide you out when the time has come. Slowly bring attention back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Now bend your knees. And roll over to your right, coming into a fetal position. And on your next exhale, press yourself up to a seated position with your eyes closed. Now just take a moment to notice how you feel in this present moment. Where is your mind? How's your inner state of being? And just notice the lightness of your being after practicing yoga. And then bring your hands to heart center and acknowledge yourself for practicing yoga today. Namaste.